Today is January 29, 2026, giving you guys your daily or E3 news. For today's news status, we have Xbox clearing up about its exclusives going to PS5 on day one of its Xbox game releases. With the article being made by Polygon, it says Xbox clears up its stance on PS5 versions on day one up to a point. Microsoft is aiming to be more consistent, says wait for Forza Horizon 6 as a development issue. During last week's Developer Direct showcase, Microsoft revealed that Playground Games Fable will be released on PS5 at the same time as on Windows PC and Xbox Series X this fall. Playground Games Forza Horizon 6, however, will not. The racing game sequel will come out on PC and Xbox on May 19th, but the PS5 version will arrive later in 2026. It was a similar story last year. Obsidian Entertainment's Avowed, released in February, is still waiting its PS5 version, while Obsidian Entertainment's The Outer Worlds 2 saw a day-and-date multi-platform release in October. In 2025, however, Microsoft multi-platform release strategy was relatively new, and it was understandable that its development studios might be playing catch-up. This year, that's less true. What is Microsoft's multi-platform strategy exactly? Why are PS5 versions of same games held back but not others? Is timed Xbox console exclusivity still a thing in some cases? In an interview with Games Radar, Xbox exec Craig Duncan answered these questions up to a point. Duncan is the head of Xbox Game Studios, a development and publishing group that includes Playground, Obsidian, Halo Studios, Rare, and many others, but does not include Bethesda or Activision Blizzard teams. Duncan insisted that Xbox Game Studios will continue to make platform publishing decisions on a case-by-case basis. But he also said that Xbox would try to be quote-unquote more consistent with its PS5's release strategy, and suggested that the extra wait for hope for Forza Horizon 6 was a development issue rather than a strategic move. Reading between these lines of his answers, it does seem that day one PS5 releases are the rule, though there will be exceptions. Quote, there's always development realities about when these projects start, how a big team is, and what plans we have at the start of development, Duncan said. When a strategy changes, maybe you've got a plan that exists with a game and maybe you can adapt that, maybe you can't. And to be clear, this is totally fair feedback. Sometimes we are inconsistent. You see some games in one place, some games in multiple places. Just know that we're going to work on that and we're going to try and be more consistent with what we do. Duncan said that addressing the largest possible audience is always a primary concern. Quote, that's always our goal, he said. It's rarely more complicated than that. But he also stressed that releasing the best possible version of a game for a platform would always take priority over making a day-and-date release. Whenever our games show up, we want them to show up and be the best they can be for that platform, he said. If we're only in a position to release a game on a platform and not have it show up really well, then I think we wouldn't do that. Not everything is limitless. In short, it sounds as though the PS5 version of Forza Horizon 6 will simply not be ready for release on May 19th, and that the Forza team, unlike the Fable team, did not have the available resources or enough planning right away to make sure that it was. Naturally, allocating those resources is a business decision that will be influenced by many factors, one of which may be that Forza Horizon 5 was only released on PS5 9 months ago and has been selling just fine. But according to Duncan, reaching as many players as possible is the number one priority for Microsoft, and delaying a game on any platform is a decision that will only be made for the game's own sake. In other words, Xbox console exclusivity for its own sake is really a thing of the past. So if this article being posted and the confirmed date for the PlayStation State of Play that's going to be in February 12th of this year, does this mean that we'll finally get to see a Ori PlayStation port for both games, Ori and the Blind Forest and Ori and the Will of the Wisps? For now, we're going to have to wait and see, and we currently have exactly 2 weeks before the PlayStation State of Play is live. And that is going to conclude for our daily Ori 3 news. If you guys did enjoy this episode of Daily Ori 3 News and want to send your own submission, send it to me on my Discord and you'll be featured in our next episode. That's going to be it, and I'll be seeing you all next time.